Hello, this is Jim Carter, and in today's video, we are going to start to set up our brand new Kajabi account. This video is going to cover the basic configurations and how we'll start to put all that together. Plus, we're going to set up our own custom domain name, the one that we registered in a past video. So we'll see how it all works together. So we're going to dive right in. Now, when we move over to Kajabi, the settings area, this is where we're going to start living for these next series of videos. And we're going to start right at the top. We're going to be on the site details section. However, before we do that, I want to talk about one of the reasons and the benefits that we set up our DNS using Cloudflare. Now, Cloudflare has a lot of really great utilities, but one of my favorite is this development mode switch, which remember we covered in our past video. When we turn on the development mode switch, what it's going to do is it's going to allow all of that extra caching, all of the extra bonus stuff that they do, all that extra tech stuff to just be suppressed for the time being. It's going to keep the security and it's going to keep everything running really well, but this is going to be our opportunity to see changes in real time. So a lot of times we get hung up on this step. We don't know what it is that's sort of holding on to past information. Cloudflare does a really good job when it's in development mode of sending through changes almost in real time. So now, no matter what changes we make, we'll be able to see them a lot quicker. So that's the first thing I wanted to mention. And don't worry, this will automatically turn off after a while because it assumes that we forget. I forget all the time. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you is we always start with development mode on for Cloudflare when we're making these bigger sweeping changes to our site. Now, just for fun, I want to also show you kind of what this looks like. So when development mode is on, what it's going to do is it's going to start kind of removing that proxy. You can use a service like dnschecker.org or anything that you have to sort of check where these records are pointing from external servers. So this service almost simulates all these different locations and it's going to say, hey, when I type in coffee shop tech, where am I actually going? And you'll see here that it starts to match these IP addresses. Right? What's happening here is it's currently proxying to these, which means Cloudflare is responding with this information. As development mode is on and that proxy starts to turn off, technically behind the scenes, that's all changing and it's going to start sending everything directly through. So really, the really cool thing is we're going to start to see these update as we make our changes. So let's go ahead and just dive in. Now, if we jump into site details, we're going to go ahead and just start naming our site. So coffee shop tech, and we can go ahead and use the same thing here. And this is going to be a my Kajabi URL. So this isn't our custom domain name yet. This is going to be the custom name for our site on the Kajabi site. Now, the beautiful thing about Kajabi is we don't have to use a custom domain name. If we want to just point people to this site, we can do that. Same way as when we set up a Google site, we don't have to put our own custom domain name on that. We could just redirect it, and that's easy enough. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to go through that whole step-by-step process. So coffee shop tech. And then it says here, do you want to use a custom domain? I'm going to go ahead and open this in a new tab. And I'm going to save this link so I can add it to you in the notes. Let's try to make it look halfway decent. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and finish kind of filling this information out just to get the basic stuff in, and then we're going to move back over. So we'll leave the phone number there, currency. This is currently not loading those options, so I guess we'll come back to that. Homepage, we can go ahead and just use the basic theme index. If you have logo information, you can go ahead and upload it there. I think for this, we'll go ahead and just choose maybe this blue color, something like this. And then instructor, I happen to have a file of myself. So while we're at it, I will also just show you this process. In this case, I'm going to move a graphic right here so you can see it. And all you have to do is just drag and drop it. Go ahead and give it a crop. And this, you can see it's a very simple file upload utility to start to put all this information together. My name is Jim Carter. And if you have any extra page scripts, so if somebody gave you a snippet of JavaScript code, for example, this is where you could also add in something like Google Analytics, which we'll cover in a different area where there is an integration. And anytime you have code from a developer or a service that you're using, this is a great place where you can put it on every single page. And then finally, some SEO information. We're going to come back to this when we start covering SEO. I'm going to skip it for now. And then optionally, you can display the Powered by Kajabi branding. So we'll leave all that on. All right. So now we've got our core site together. You can copy this and we can paste it in a new window. And it looks like I spelled the, excuse me, it looks like I spelled it wrong. So let's go ahead and fix that and save it again. All right. Now let's copy it correctly. And you'll see here that now the site loads properly with coffeeshoptech.mykajabi.com. So it's already a little bit more branded to me, but we're going to take it that further step. So the next thing we wanted to do is we wanted to connect an existing domain. Now you also see there that they have a deep integration with Cloudflare. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in www.coffeeshoptech.com. And actually, just to show you exactly where this is, if you go back to settings, you can get to this at any time by going here and clicking on custom domain. So now we're ready to actually configure our custom domain. So we've typed in www.coffeeshoptech.com. We're going to click next, and then we're going to say do this connect your domain. So we're going to view the instructions right here. So this article is going to give you everything that you need to let us connect our domain. And if you remember before, we talked about where to go, what to do. Well, all we're going to be doing here is we've already added our domain name to Kajabi, so we're going to be changing that CNAME value. You remember we talked about 3 different types of DNS records that you're going to need to know. The A record, the CNAME, and the MX record. And then optionally the text record from time to time. So all we're going to do is we are going to need to add a CNAME to our domain, and we're going to point it to ssl.kajabi.com. So that's really simple, and I'm going to walk you through the whole thing. So we come over to Cloudflare, and when we're in our site, remember we have development mode on, we're going to move over to DNS. And now you'll see here that we don't have any CNAME type records, which means we just need to delete the A records. A CNAME and an A record are very one and the same. They're different types of records for the same exact utility. The only difference between an A record and a CNAME, an A record points to an IP address. The CNAME points to an actual other domain name. It's just a different way of doing the same thing. So all we're going to do here in this case is we're going to remove the A record, and we're going to remove this A record. And now we're going to come in here and click Add Record. We're going to choose, it's going to be a CNAME, and it's going to be www, and we're going to paste in ssl.kajabi.com. And in all cases, we can just leave this proxy status on. That's going to allow Cloudflare to do its thing. Now, the last thing that I want you to do here, and this is just a benefit of using Cloudflare to clean and simplify this up, is we're actually going to add one more CNAME record, and we're going to do exactly as it's saying, use the @ for the root domain, right? So this is without W's. And in this case, we're actually just going to point it right back to our own website. So coffeeshoptech.com. And, oh, it looks like they won't let you do that anymore. It's been a minute since I've set that up. Let's actually do it, www. All right, so they made a little change into the way that they allow it as well. So we don't want that to go into a loop. We actually want it to point to our www. So what's happening here is when somebody just types in the real naked domain, if you will, they'll point to www. And then www is going to point to Kajabi. And Cloudflare is going to do all of the management of this. So again, we're just now saying again in that air traffic control mindset, when somebody types in these records, where do they go? Now, all changes to all the DNS are saved in real time. So at this point, you're done. And if we go back over here to connect your domain, now this is the section where it might take a little bit for this to verify, but we're going to go ahead and click verify. And as soon as it recognizes it, then it's going to pick it up. And this is one of the benefits of using Cloudflare again, is they're really fast about refreshing this information. So we don't have to wait hours, days for this to propagate on some older sort of free services. Cloudflare is one of those new age technologies that gives us this benefit. So we've done it. We've configured our custom domain, and you can see that the SSL verification is pending. This process could take about 45 minutes. SSL is just the security certificate. So what they're doing now on the back end, just to explain what's happening, is their servers are ordering security certificates for the custom domain because we verified it to make sure that the site can load in an SSL secure form. However, one of the wonderful things, again, about using Cloudflare for free is that on the SSL section, we have set up our SSL to work in a flexible manner, which, if you remember before we spoke about, that means when the browser makes a secure connection to Cloudflare, it does not have to be secure going over the wire to get there. Only time it needs to be secure is if it's actually checking that third-party certificate, right? So another benefit of why we have our flexible SSL setup. Now at this point, we are done connecting an existing domain. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot to see if it resolves quickly. All right, and it is currently in process getting everything together. Like it said, it's ordering that SSL certificate. So we're going to check back in just a few, and I'll show you when we are ready to go with our Kajabi website. Okay, and we're back. So we waited just a little bit of time. We've allowed everything to update, and I want to come on back over and check it now. So now I'm not going to be upset if it doesn't reload on this browser session, and I'll tell you why. So I'm going to hit refresh, and notice that it's still not going through, but I have a feeling that it's ready. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to open up our website in an incognito Chrome window. Now, the reason that this can be happening is our browsers cache a lot of information that comes in. And many times they cache the headers, and the headers are sort of like it's kind of like if you were to wear a name badge everywhere you went, and everybody knew that as you walked in, this was your name. And then you wore a chain that actually talked about what your last name was, and then you wore something on your shoulder that talked about what your preferences were. So the headers are a way for the browser to identify you or all of this website traffic as it comes in. And typically what it does is it logs it and it remembers it, so it doesn't have to look for it, ask for it every single time. So what we're going to do is we're just going to open it in a brand new window like this, and we are going to see that it does load. Now you'll notice there's literally no difference between this window and this window, except this one just still remembers the old information that we had. So what we're doing here is we're opening an incognito Chrome window. In Safari, this is also called privacy mode. And what this does is it allows us to emulate what it would be like if somebody looked at it for the first time and they didn't have those settings remembered. And you'll see here that now we are able to start to interact with our Kajabi site, and you'll see all of these other great actions and abilities are going to start to come to life for us. And in future videos, we're going to dive into how to put all this together. So in this case, we have now taken our custom domain name. We've worked with development mode in Cloudflare. We have configured our custom domain name, and now we have this custom domain name running. So I'm really excited to be able to dive into Kajabi with you and show you how you can start to put all of your knowledge into this system to start to spread it with the world. My name is Jim Carter, and you can find me on all the socials at CauseHacker or my website, jimcarter.me. Let me know in the comments below what you thought, and I love teaching these things, so I really hope you're enjoying it, and please request a video. I would absolutely adore learning about what you're working towards, and if something is missing, maybe we can put a module together. Thank you so much.